All right, everybody, ready to dive in. Today we're taking a deep dive into the language of swimming. We've got this YouTube video transcript all about English vocabulary related to swimming. And I gotta say, I'm intrigued. I'm more of a sit by the pool with a good book kind of person, but this is making me want to, like actually get in the water.
Well, swimming is one of those things that connects people, I mean, across cultures. It's such a primal experience,
Yeah.
really. And the words we use to talk about it, I think they tell us a lot about, well, how we relate to water, both physically and emotionally.
Yeah, no, that's true. So I guess like our mission today is to kind of decode some of these swimming terms, right? See what they reveal about this whole world of, well, being in the water.
Exactly.
Uh,
We'll go way beyond those simple dictionary definitions. We'll really explore the nuances of these words, how they're used, and really what they evoke in us, I guess.
okay, I love that. So the video starts off with these two words, sailing and anchor. And they even point out like how important it is to pronounce anchor correctly, not anchor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it, how even just the pronunciation of a word could just completely change the meaning and the impact. And these two words, sailing and anchor, I mean, they seem so simple, but they actually speak to like a fundamental duality in swimming.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, think about sailing, right? It just evokes this sense of freedom, of moving with the wind and the currents. It's about embracing the flow, like surrendering to the power of the water.
And like anchor, on the other hand, is about like stability, right? Staying
Yeah.
grounded, even when you're surrounded by something, well, as fluid and unpredictable as water.
Exactly. It's that tension between movement and stillness, between letting go and staying in control. That's what really defines, I think, the swimming experience.
Wow, yeah. I never thought about it like that before. Okay, so we've got this like push and pull, this dance between freedom and control. Now let's actually get into some like real swimming moves. The video talks about like three main styles:
Hmm.
the doggy paddle, the breaststroke, and the backstroke. Can you break those down for us a little bit?
Sure, sure. Let's start with the doggy paddle, right? It's often the first stroke that people learn, and as the name suggests, it's not the most elegant technique. It's more about survival than speed, I guess. It's that instinctive flailing we do when we're just trying to keep our heads above water.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that. I think I've done more doggy paddling in my life than than any other stroke. Usually like totally out of panic.
Huh. Well, yeah, that's understandable. It's
Yeah.
it's a natural response, right? When you feel out of your depth. Now, the breaststroke, that's much more coordinated. It's a much more efficient way of moving through the water. It's all
Yeah.
about that rhythmic uh, pushing and pulling with your arms and legs.
So less flailing, more finesse.
Exactly. And then you have the backstroke, right? The one where you get to just gaze up at the sky while you glide through the water. It's often seen as the most relaxing stroke.
Probably the best way to avoid any like unexpected underwater encounters, right?
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. But, I think beyond just the physical movements, these strokes also represent different ways of interacting with the water.
Yeah.
The doggy paddle is all about urgency and just staying afloat. The breaststroke is about power and efficiency. And the backstroke, well, it's about grace and surrender.
I love that you're pointing out those like subtle differences. It's not just about, how you move your arms and legs. It's about your whole attitude towards being in the water, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, the video, it goes on to teach a few useful phrases, ones that kind of go beyond just, simply describing swimming, right? They capture those little moments, those interactions that happen around the water.
Oh, like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, well, they start with take a dip,
Yeah.
which is, I think, a delightful expression, really. It just conjures up, images of a quick, refreshing plunge, maybe in a pool on a hot day.
It's funny, right? How just those two little words, take a dip, can convey so much, you know? It's not about a serious swim. It's about that momentary immersion, that feeling of coolness and playfulness.
Exactly. And then there's a phrase that they say can actually make you sound more fluent in English. It's for a little while.
Oh, that's interesting. I use that phrase like all the time, but I never thought about it as a fluency booster.
Well, it's all about capturing that sense of casual duration, that effortless way of expressing how long something lasts.
So instead of saying like I swam for 5 minutes, you'd say I took a dip for a little while.
Precisely. It just sounds so much more natural, more conversational.
Okay, I'm gonna start like really paying attention to how I use for a little while. I'm always looking for ways to, upgrade my fluency. What other gems does this video have for us?
Well, they also teach the phrase straight towards, which, I mean, it seems simple enough, but it could be used in so many different contexts, like both literal and metaphorical.
Like I swam straight towards the shore, or like I'm heading straight towards that delicious looking ice cream cone.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about direction and intention and focus. And speaking of unexpected directions, the video takes this really fascinating turn, when they share a personal anecdote about a pretty dramatic boating mishap.
Ooh, a story. I love stories, especially ones that involve, water and a little bit of chaos. Set the scene for us. Where does this take place?
Okay, so imagine a summer lake house. Picture, idyllic family life. There are two small islands close enough to visit each other for dinner.
Oh, it sounds lovely, but I have a feeling things are about to get a little less idyllic.
Yeah, you're right. It's late, it's dark, and the grandfather, he decides to head back to his island in a boat. No lights, just the quiet hum of the engine.
And then,
Well, out of the darkness, another boat, it just appears. It's his cousin's boat, and they collide. The impact is so forceful that the grandfather's boat, it flips over completely, throws him into the dark water.
oh no.
The engine, it detaches and just sinks to the bottom of the lake. It's
Hmm.
it's a chaotic scene, really terrifying.
Oh, I can only imagine. So what happened next? Was everyone okay?
Thankfully, yes,
Yeah.
the grandfather was okay, but the incident, well, it really left its mark. The boat remained overturned, and the next day they had to call in scuba divers to retrieve the engine from the depths of the lake.
Wow, that must have been quite the operation.
It was. And you know what's fascinating? Every year after that, the grandfather would recount this story, his anger and his frustration still so palpable, as if it had just happened yesterday.
It's amazing how a single event, especially one that involves, the power and the unpredictability of water can just become so ingrained in our memories.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, like, how would we even begin to process and recount these experiences without the language to describe them?
That's a great point. We're not just, learning words here. We're exploring how language helps us make sense of our experiences, especially those that involve the power and the mystery of water.
And we're only just getting started. There's so much more to uncover in this world of swimming lingo.
That story, oh my gosh, it really like gets your heart racing, doesn't it? It's incredible how quickly things can change when you're, out on the water.
Yeah, it certainly does. It really highlights how important it is to respect the water and its power. And as we were just saying, how language helps us kind of grapple with those experiences.
For sure. Speaking of language, this video transcript has even more like interesting vocabulary. For example, they talk about swimsuit and swimming costume, which I mean, they basically refer to the same thing, right?
Right, right. They both just describe what you wear when you go swimming, but what I find fascinating is how those two terms reveal this subtle difference between American English and British English. Swimsuit is way more common in America, whereas swimming costume is kind of the preferred term over in the UK.
Huh. So even something as simple as what we call our swimwear can reflect these broader cultural differences. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great reminder that language is always evolving,
Yeah.
and adapting to different regions and social contexts.
Okay, so what about the word towel? It seems like a pretty basic word, but I feel like it carries a lot of weight when we're talking about, swimming.
Oh, absolutely. A towel. I mean, it's not just a piece of fabric for drying off, right? It represents that transition from being in the water to being out of it. It's
Yeah.
that feeling of warmth and comfort after a swim, that moment of relaxation and rejuvenation.
And speaking of feeling good after a swim, the video also mentions the word tan. That sun-kissed glow that some people love.
Yeah, tanning. That's an interesting concept because it connects swimming to this broader idea of leisure and aesthetics, I guess. It's
Yeah.
it's about that desire to achieve a certain look, right? That golden brown hue that signifies time spent out in the sun.
Yeah, yeah, but it is important to remember the health implications of sun exposure, right? Like always wear sunscreen, protect your skin.
Oh, absolutely. Safety first, always. Now, back to the vocabulary list, they also mention the word dive, which to me kind of implies a certain level of skill and athleticism.
Yeah, I'm picturing those like Olympic divers,
Yeah,
gracefully slicing through the air before entering the water with barely a splash.
exactly. Dive suggests like a controlled and deliberate entry into the water. It's not just a casual jump or a slip and fall. It's about mastering your body and the elements.
And it's not just a physical act either, right? We also use dive metaphorically, like diving into a new project or diving deep into a topic.
That's a great observation. Dive, it conveys a sense of immersion, of fully committing to something,
Yeah.
whether it's a body of water or a complex idea.
Yeah, I like that. It's about taking the plunge, both literally and figuratively. So we've covered some clothing, some post-swim relaxation, and a pretty dramatic verb. What else is on this vocabulary
Well,
list?
they mentioned kick, which is, I mean, obviously crucial for propelling yourself through the water.
Yeah, kicking is all about generating that force and momentum, but we also use kick in other contexts too, like kickstarting a project or getting a kick out of something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about taking action, creating movement, making things happen. And speaker of taking action, we can't forget about that classic swimming safety advice. Swim straight towards the shore.
It seems so simple, right?
Yeah.
But it's such a crucial piece of advice, especially when you're swimming in open water. It reminds us that swimming isn't just about, splashing around and having fun. It's about understanding the environment and making smart and safe choices.
And it circles back to how important language is in navigating those situations. Clear communication,
Yeah.
understanding the meaning of those words can be the difference between a fun swim and a potentially dangerous one.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how these seemingly simple swimming terms can connect to these bigger ideas about safety and communication and even our relationship with the water itself.
Absolutely, it's
Yeah.
it's all intertwined. And there's one more word that the video brings up that I think is worth exploring a little bit further.
Ooh, okay. A little bit of a cliffhanger there. What's this mysterious word that deserves further exploration?
Well, it's one we touched on briefly at the beginning. Sailing. I know it might seem like a step away from swimming itself, but bear with me.
Sailing. Okay, yeah. I can kind of see where you're going with this. Both activities are all about, well, being on the water, right?
Right.
Navigating currents, dealing with the elements.
Exactly. And I think exploring the language of sailing can actually deepen our understanding of the swimming experience.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? Both sailors and swimmers, they have to harness the power of water, respect its unpredictability,
Mhm.
and find that delicate balance between control and surrender.
Yeah, that's such a cool connection. It's like swimming is a microcosm of sailing in a way of experiencing those same forces and challenges, but on a more like intimate level.
I love that. A microcosm. And just as a sailor needs to, read the wind and the waves,
Yeah.
a swimmer, well, they have to understand their own body's buoyancy, right? How their movements create propulsion and interact with
Yeah.
with the water's resistance.
Yeah, it's like we become these mini vessels, like navigating our own personal seas.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that brings us back to a question that this video poses. How does language shape our understanding
Yeah.
of these experiences? Do certain words evoke stronger feelings or memories for us?
Oh, 100%. For me, the word dive like instantly brings back that feeling of exhilaration,
Right.
that weightless moment when you're suspended between the air and the water.
And what about anchor? Does that evoke a different kind of feeling?
Definitely. Anchor is all about like stability, about feeling grounded and secure even when you're, surrounded by something as fluid and unpredictable as water. It's that sense of knowing you have a safe haven to return to.
It's fascinating, how a single word can trigger such vivid sensations and emotions. And for a little while, I bet that takes you back to lazy summer days, spent just splashing around in a pool or a lake.
Totally. It evokes a sense of timelessness, of pure enjoyment and freedom.
It's incredible how powerful language is, isn't it? It's not just about communicating information. It's about unlocking memories and sharing emotions and shaping our whole understanding of the world around us.
Yeah, this deep dive has been amazing. We've gone from like simple definitions to exploring the cultural nuances of swimming terms
Hmm.
to connecting those words to deeper themes of like safety and human experience and even the power of storytelling.
And hopefully we've inspired you to think a little bit more critically about the language you use, not just when you're talking about swimming, but in all aspects of your life.
Because words are more than just, tools. They're vessels for meaning and connection and shared understanding.
So the next time you find yourself, near the water, take a moment to appreciate the words that describe this
Yes.
incredible element and how those words shapes your experience of it.
And maybe even try out some of the new vocabulary you've learned, right? Share your swimming stories. Tell us what words resonate with you the most. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, happy swimming.